Is not by any means the most, oh, here's my tea. This definitely isn't the most appealing background, but here I am. You know, I was doing pretty well. I was pretty positive, and ever since I've been in LA, I've been triggered. And it's just been difficult. Like, something that I have to fight is that no good, God-fearing, attractive man that I respect will ever truly want me. That's like a genuine fear that I have, because every man that I'm like, I start actually getting interested in, I'm like, I think I could actually like really like respect them. And they seem God-fearing and, you know, like they seem awesome. Like, it's like, nope. And I'd be like, oh. But like, it's just difficult. I mean, like, I still believe that it's out there, but like I'm just sick of the disappointment, to be honest. Like, I literally feel so tired of it. Yeah, and I really hate that I don't have any single friends either. All of my friends are either married or engaged, or at the bare minimum dating, but literally like my closest people, they're all married and engaged. So sometimes I just feel a little misunderstood. Like, sometimes I don't want a faith talk. I don't want you to, it's coming and they're just like, sometimes I really don't want that. Sometimes I just want you to be like, I see you and I get it. And I just want you to give me a hug. Like, I feel like I don't have anybody that is having like a shared experience with me, or at least nobody that's like around me right now. So like to like walk with me through it. And so that's hard. Like, I'm definitely appreciative that I have friends that are married and stuff, because, you know, I can, you know, learn and glean from them and, you know, get advice and stuff. But like, also like, that's not really a part of my life right now. So like, we can relate, but then on some levels we can't. And I feel like they all have this shared experience that I don't have. So it kind of makes me feel like left out in a way. But it's just difficult. It just frustrates me sometimes, because I'm like, I thought I was like over this. Like, I really thought that I was just doing better and I was just going on, you know, gonna be on the up and up. But I just really like, I'm sick of the disappointment. I'm just kind of like, will the disappointment, like, will it ever stop hurting me, or like hurt less? Or is it that I'm just gonna have to like keep like believing and trusting anyway? Like, yeah, I'm like, does it get easier? I don't know. But, you know, this is how I'm feeling right now. I don't enjoy it. And I'm not gonna go fly. And I'm not gonna try and force myself to be positive or have something positive to say, because, you know, that's just not what's coming naturally to me right now. So how I'm feeling. It's honest, it's raw. And maybe I'll feel better later, or have like some sort of revelation or turn around later, or tomorrow or whatever. But as of right now, just feel pretty disappointed. So I just watched that back, and I don't know, I feel all of the feelings watching that back. Oh, and to report back about having a turnaround, definitely didn't have one that night. I think for a few days. Obviously, I mean, I was going about my life. You know, I'm not just like sitting there down in the dumps. But I think, you know, when I would have just kind of like my alone time, I do think that I was still kind of feeling a little like iffy about it, and kind of being like, okay, God, like, you know, I'm ready for a turnaround, and I don't know that if I got one for a few days. And that's just real. That's just honest. One thing that I am grateful for is that I'm glad that I let myself take that moment. I know for so long I would feel like so much shame for like having moments like that, where I was doubting, or where I was frustrated or disappointed or sad or whatever. Like, I would judge myself so harshly for taking a moment and for feeling that. So I wouldn't tell anybody. I also think I didn't tell people because it was like, you know, you also don't want to hear that like, but you just need to focus on yourself, or you just need to this and that, because like that can be true, but for me it would make me feel misunderstood, and like, well, they're not in my you know, they're not going through this, so how can they really just like brush it off and just be like, we'll just focus on you and you'll be okay. We'll just dive into work. Just dive into this. And although those can be things that can help, you know, if you don't have any time to get still to feel that, then of course you're not gonna feel it. But I'm glad that I started taking those moments and acknowledging how I felt, because I think that it's helped me to process through it better. But yeah, sometimes the struggle is real. Like I can't tell you how many moments like that I've had, to be honest. Just feeling disappointed, you know, when things just, you know, you get excited about a new situation or a new connection that you're making, and then, you know, it turns out to not be, you know, what you had hoped for it to be. Like, it sucks, you know? And I think that over the course of the last maybe like year, I think like I've had kind of disappointments back to back, and it, I think, had kind of taken a toll. Like, it had been so frustrating for me, and I felt like I couldn't even hide it anymore. Like, I was like, okay, me trying to hold this in or feel so much shame about this is not helping, so I just started talking about it. I mean, I was still shy to talk to people about it, but I would just write it out. I would write out what I was feeling, just because I needed an outlet for it. And I knew that I couldn't be the only person that's felt this before. You know, even though I felt like I hadn't seen anybody dealing with it like that, like no one around me was like showing that side of singleness. Everyone was just like kind of putting on face. And some people do better in singleness. Some people love being alone, and I do enjoy my solitude, but marriage and stuff is still a desire of mine, a deep desire of mine. But I just do think there's such an importance of being honest with yourself and having moments like that, instead of being in denial. Denial is not going to help you. You know, I would distract myself. I would try to, you know, avoid having those feelings, because a lot of them would come when I was just like in my own space by myself in my room at night, you know what I mean, maybe having my still time or like having my wind down time. That's when I would feel these things, because that was the only time I was kind of like still enough to allow myself to feel. And I would hate it. So like during my wind down time, I would like turn on a YouTube video so I didn't have to feel it, or watch TV while I'm like doing my face routine and stuff. Trying to avoid the feelings, because I just felt so much shame about it. I just felt so embarrassed, and just like nobody else was dealing with that, because no one was showing it. No one that was around me was showing it. They never looked like they went through that stage. They just seemed like they were good. They found their person. Everything was fine and dandy. But then when I would talk to them, they would be like, oh no, like I remember feeling like that. Oh my God, I remember. And I would just be like, so why is everyone trying to put on face? Like, you know, personally, I think I had wished that I had more people being honest about it, so that I could have felt like I wasn't absolutely insane. That's how I felt, you know, like I was crazy, or like something was wrong with me, or I don't know, just for having these types of moments. But I think that more people than I had realized had those types of moments. So that's why I find it so important to show this, because it's real and no one talks about it. And I'm like, y'all, we need to do better, because then you're gonna have people feeling like they're crazy, or feeling like there's something wrong with them, or feeling so much shame and just trying to suppress these feelings, and not ever really getting a chance to work through them. And it's so important to work through them and just be honest about them, and feel like you have a safe space to be honest, you know, about these types of things. But as far as how did I get through those rough days, I think a question that I had said in there was like, does it get easier? Personally, I mean, I also haven't had any new disappointments come up, so I think that's helped. But for me, it has gotten easier, if I'm being honest. You know, it really could be because there hasn't been any disappointments, but also like I think I've just gotten to a space where I do feel better, and I don't feel as sad, and I've recognized the lessons in each disappointment. Because at first I was trying to reject them when I was thinking back about disappointments, and I was like, they just suck. Like, God, like, why did you do this? Why did you allow this? You know, I let myself be dramatic and let myself, you know, have my moment and stuff like that. But then when I looked back, I was like, okay, but I see why that needed to happen, because I learned this lesson. And I'm also, for me, if I'm being honest, I'm learning what I want more and what I don't want. It's really helping me, so that when my person does, or you know, a person does show up, I know what I want and I know what I don't want. And I think that that's just helpful, period, knowing what you want and what you don't. There has been a lot of blessing in it. It's teaching me so many life lessons. It's showing me how to keep my heart pure. It's been tough, and it's been a battle, but I do feel like each thing has been preparation. now, after I'm, some months away from it, I can see it more as a whole rather than the way that I saw it when it was just happening. I was so sad, couldn't be sadder. Just going through the motions. But now I can look at it for what it is and be like, it sucked, but this was actually, I can see the lessons that I learned there, and I think they're important lessons that I don't know that I would have learned had I not gone through that. So I'm grateful. But yeah, how did I get through those rough days? Letting myself go through them. To be honest, letting myself feel them. Journaling. I love to journal. You'll always hear me talking about journaling. I'm a big questioner. I don't like to settle for I feel this. Like, I'm like, okay, but Taya, like, why do you feel that? Like, I like to know why I'm feeling the things that I'm feeling, and what's really going on, what it might be triggering, with inside of me. Yeah, I'm just a big processor. What are some other practical tools? I don't know if there's that many tools, to be honest. You just go through them. Time passes and you begin to dwell on them less and less. I think it's obviously when something has just happened, it's like, there's no, and I just did this and then I felt better. Like, no. And obviously you'll have moments where where you feel fine, but then you also will have moments where you might be a little sad and might be feeling that disappointment a little heavier. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think another thing that I hope doesn't sound super cliche is just realizing how loved I was by God. I know that might sound cliche. Don't click out. That was genuinely something that I had to recognize, and I think one way that I recognized that was by certain worship songs. There were certain worship songs that really communicated God's heart toward me that I didn't really know. Because I think with relationships, one thing that we want to feel from those things is we want to feel loved. Our desires to feel loved, you know what I mean, by somebody, and feel cared for and seen by somebody sometimes. But I think that firstly, we have to realize how loved and seen we are by our Creator, I'm gonna just shout out to Abby Gamboa and Upper Room's album. I think it's called Pure. And there's a few songs on there that have really, really helped me to understand God's love for me and how he sees me and how he cares for me. Ooh, there's another song, literally, it's called No One Ever Cared for Me Like Jesus. It's by Stephanie Gretzinger. And I'll link them literally. I might even make a playlist. Maybe I'll make a playlist. And I'll put it down below so you can listen to it. But that has definitely, I think, helped just my process, to be honest, just recognizing and how much God cares about every area of my life, and like including this area. I think that I would always, I don't know, I feel like when I would feel shame about having those moments, I would feel like God was judging me in those moments. That even further made me not want to open up to God about it, not want to open up to anybody about it. But one day I was so frustrated and I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know anybody to talk to about it that I felt like wouldn't judge me. And so I literally just started talking to God about it, because I have that type of relationship with God. I talk to him like I'm talking to this camera. I talk to him like I would talk to a friend. Like, I just talk. And so I got so frustrated and I was like, I need an outlet for all of these emotions. And I decided to just talk to him about my frustrations. And I literally just like burst into tears. I was so just like, I just like, what is going on? And I just like, I'm still like, why did you allow me to go through this? I hate feeling like this. Da, da, da. I feel like I keep dealing with this same thing. I feel like I'm good for a while, having great days, nothing's rough, and then it hits me like a ton of bricks and I'm sad again, and I'm like, will I ever be able to finally get to that space where I feel good? And I'm gonna say this really fast before I forget it. I always wonder if, because and I said this in my first podcast about how I don't really love when people are like, and once you just focus on you and you're not even thinking about a relationship and da-da-da-da, like that's when your person shows up. When you're just good all alone, da-da-da, all that stuff. But I'm always like, when you say you're good all alone, does that mean that you never have moments? Or that's how it translated to me. Like, okay, I'm good, completely good alone. That means I never have moments. I talked to my sister about it, and she said that not necessarily. She said it's not that she didn't have moments, but it was that she did feel whole within herself. Like, she didn't need this thing to complete her. So I want to clear that up, like, because for me, in my mind, when I hear and I'm just totally good by myself, it means that I never think about, I always saw it as, I never think about relationships or me being in one. I never have moments, and I'm just like, I'm just good. I'm always good. And so that made me feel even crazier. But even when I talked to my sister, who's married now, she was like, no, it's not that. She was like, and it's not like the desire wasn't there either, but it was literally just that, you know, she did feel whole within herself to not need this so bad that she is unwell without it, you know. So wanted to clear that up, point blank, bang. But I would literally talk to God so straight up. And I remember, this one day, when I was super frustrated, and I just went to him, asking all of my questions. You know, I burst into tears in the depths of my sadness and confusion and frustration. I felt so much like peace, it was literally like, I know this always sounds weird, it's hard to describe, but like, it was literally like God was like hugging me and just being like, I see you, like, I see you, like, just hugging me, like giving me a nice shoulder rub. Love a good shoulder rub. Okay, yeah, you're getting off track. Like, it was like he was holding me, and I was expecting to be kind of reprimanded, or I was expecting to be judged and like looked down upon by feeling those things and saying that to God. But instead, I was met with so much love and care. Like he was just holding me, and I feel like it just helped me so much when dealing with this stuff, knowing that God cares so much. He loves me so much. He's not judging me. He's not looking down on me for feeling those types of things. He's not brushing off how I feel. He's like sitting there, so kind, so gentle with me, so gentle with my heart, just loving me back to life, loving me back to joy and peace, and to contentment and to wholeness within myself. So yeah, I know I've said a mouthful, but I just think it is so important to allow yourself to have those types of moments and know that you're not crazy, because I deal with it too, and I know other people that have dealt with it that just never spoke up about it. So it's a real thing, y'all. And so I hope that you stop judging yourself. If you are judging yourself, you know, for feeling those things, I hope that you stop doing that, and know that God loves you and cares about you and wants to give you a big hug, because, you know, he feels that pain, you know what I mean, and he wants to help heal you, and he wants to just love you back to life. That is the nature of his heart. He's so kind, he's so loving. Yep, I have a few other videos, if you haven't seen them already, that I will put right here, wherever it is. Hope you guys join me for the next episode of my Singleness series. Like, comment, subscribe, do all of the things, and I will see you guys very soon.